At this point, we should be done with our template. Just make sure you added in that copyright statement if you hadn't done it before, and that you've updated all of the footer elements with icons that are at 2 times the scale, that open up in a new tab when clicked if they're to another website, and that each have a class specific to their utility so that we can style those to be different. And we should also have our PDF download anchor element should be a little bit further defined, where we have the href attribute that leads to it, and then we also have some accents over the E's every time we use the word resume, and we've now got a little icon next to it to let everyone know that it's a download. So what we want to do now, before we move on, is make sure that we validate our template code. So since I'm still working locally, I'm just going to copy that code and visit the validator, which should now open in a new tab. If I gave it that blank target attribute, I can click on this markup validation service header and validate by direct input by pasting my code in. And when I check it, you see I get a warning. It does not like the value of attribute title on element A from namespace, right? And it's this resume thing, it doesn't like these special characters that are in there, and it seems to be choking on both of them. So it's saying that it wants me to use Unicode. And if you remember, we had that in our meta char set here. And so it's just wanting us to use Unicode instead of HTML character entities if we want accents over the E's. So let's see if we can fix that. Let's Google UTF-8 E with accent. Might get us pretty close. And look, it's right here. The Unicode character E with an accent is a U plus a 00 E9, or we could potentially use some of these other characters here as well. Let's try. See, here it lists the HTML entity, but we want UTF-8, and so it appears that we should use one of these. I guess they're the same. Let's try them real quick and see. Again, I'm not really too committed to us having these in here, so if it doesn't work, we can just replace them with letter E for the title attributes, but if we can get it to work, we may as well. Let's try that for, I think that was for the resume download. And see, now it's putting in all of these codes. So I tell you what, rather than, this would be something that I would have to Google anyway. So rather than stressing out about it, let's replace this for now with just letters E. So again, we're really just doing this for practice. You wouldn't want to put these accents over it for real. So for now, let's just do this to fix that problem. And let's revalidate. Oops. Okay, and we're getting another warning that the text run is not in Unicode normalization form C. Why don't we put that into Google real quick and see if we get any valuable information about that. Stack Overflow is a pretty good source to learn more about that. And they don't require that it be used, so it's just given as a suggestion, which of course would be why it's a warning. And it looks like we could use them if we wanted to, but we don't have to. So I'm going to skip that too, because again, this is a basic class and I don't want to overcomplicate it. So for now, if we're down to warnings for these, they're working like we want. And it looks like it's just a recommendation to use Unicode for that. So for now, it's okay for me if your title attributes don't have the accent over the E's, as long as you have them in these two links here, and as long as you have that copyright symbol at the bottom. But the next thing we want to do is create, once we get to that point where our template page is validating, at least it might have a couple of warnings for this, but otherwise it's validating. We want to use it to create another page now. Now don't get ahead of me on this. Please don't create a bunch of different pages, because I'm going to show you a little bit later in the class how to make easier work of that. But for now, let's go ahead and create one. So I'm going to do a save as with my template. And I'm going to create that style guide page. So I'm going to name it style-guide, just like I did when I created the link in the footer. And I'm going to make sure that I save this right in my GRD 188 folder at the same level as my template. And now I want to work on that page. So the first thing I need to do is come in and give the style guide a relevant description. So the template page should always have this placeholder text, and we shouldn't be updating the template. So make sure you have two separate pages here. But the style guide, I should now describe what this page is about. So this is, let's see, a website style guide. Contains information about the brand elements of a website, right? Something like that. And then for the title, it could be something as simple as website style guide. Now, all of the rest of this stuff should be the same, especially in the head code, so I don't want to change it. I should already have had the link to the style guide page down here, so I don't need to change that. All I really need to change is the content inside the main element, and I need to have it actually contain elements of a style guide. So that's provided to you in your assignment instructions. If you scroll down to style guide content.html, this is provided code for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on it and open it in browser. And you can see it's not a complete page, like there's no navigation or anything. But what I can do is I can right click and view page source, and I can see that it's this entire main element that opens and closes here. So all I need to do is take that code, copy it, and then make sure I'm working on my style guide page, not my template. Again, my template should stay as it is. But what I can do is come and find the main element of my style guide page and just replace it with this main element that I just picked up. I just want to go back and make sure that it's indented properly though. So I should see the main element open right here, and if I scroll down far enough I should see it close right here, and everything else should be indented within it. So if I save it, what I should be able to do now is from my template page I should be able to click the link to that style guide, and it should now take me to a page where my navigation doesn't move, it doesn't change. Both header and footer navigation are the same, but the only difference between these two pages is the main content. Everything else should stay the same. And we're going to be able to use this to be able to get a better sense of what the typography looks like once we start styling the page in the next exercise. So again, something you want to do is make sure before we're done that our style guide page also passes validation. So I'm going to come back to the validation section here, and I'm just going to use direct input since mine isn't on my hosting space. And I can see that I'm probably just going to get those same two warnings about the Unicode. And other than that, everything is looking pretty good. So you are welcome to pursue solutions to this, and if you really want to be able to put the accents over the E's in the title attributes, I'd encourage you to pursue solutions to that as well. But again, it's just a bit advanced for what we're learning right now, so I'm not going to require it. Once you have both pages validating, then you want to put them on your hosting space and make sure that you're copying them over at the top level of your hosting space. So Let's see. Let me come here. Okay, and so now I could get rid of all of these, and remember when I'm deleting through FileZilla that it is a hard delete, so you really just want to be doing server hosting space maintenance here. I wouldn't delete anything from my computer using FileZilla. I'm just getting rid of those 2 test files that I don't need anymore. And now I can take my .188 folder now, and you see I've got quite a bit of new things here. So it'd probably make a lot of sense for me to just copy everything from my 188 folder over to my hosting space. It might take a while. This web fonts folder is pretty big. And if you get tired of seeing this target file already exists message, you can tell it to always use this action. If you don't want it to do it every time, you could also tell it to apply it just this one time by checking apply to current queue only. And then it won't ask you that for every single file. And we can see now it's working to put everything back up there. I might want to see my message log again up here just to see. I can see everything successful now. So once I've done all that, I should be able to navigate to my portfolio site online, and I should see everything there. I should be able to check my template and see that the icons are still working. From here, since I'm online, I should be able to actually validate my HTML, and I'm seeing I'm getting those 2 warnings. And I should be able to connect to my style guide page from my template, and I should be able to validate it as well. And so at this point, we're in pretty good shape. We'll start the CSS portion as our next exercise. But once you get to this point, just make sure that you submit the assignment in Brightspace, and you'll be in good shape.